Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Hookah Anonymous, and you are now rocking with Mickey Truth. She live up to her name, not the fame. So make sure y'all subscribe to her channel and stay updated on what's real. Bye.
Coming from where I come from, they doubted me, but I came up. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. Coming from where I come from, they doubted me, but I came up. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world.
Good reporting ass Mickey.
We love you, Mickey.
What's up? It's your girl, Mickey Truth, aka Mickey Facts, and I'm back with another video. And as always, all information contained in this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. All information used in this video is per the Fair Use Act, and all conclusions that you make is on you, not me. So let's get it. So as I've been telling y'all, I am going to dig into the YNW Melly case, and I have started that process because as I told y'all, it's starting to be some movement on the case. Not technically a trial date just yet, but it's definitely new details. So what we need to do first is take it from the top, from when the actual charges came out. Now, I know a lot of y'all may already know the scenario, but however, Mickey Truth hasn't put her take on it, and you know what I mean by that. Drop that paperwork. So let's get into it with this video, and then we catch up after.
In a double murder. Police are saying the two staged a crime scene to make it look like a drive-by shooting. CBS 4's Carly Barnett is live at the Broward County Jail in Fort Lauderdale with more. Carly.
Lauren, this Florida rapper YNW Melly, as well as another man, are being held here at the Broward County Jail this morning. They are each charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, and they're also accused of, as you said, staging this crime scene to appear as though it was a drive-by shooting. Cortland Henry and Jamel DeMons, who is better known as YNW Melly, are sitting in jail charged with shooting and killing Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr. Now, this happened back in October. We actually have aerial footage of the scene at Memorial Miramar Hospital. The victims, Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr., were dropped off at the hospital where they were pronounced dead. The shooting actually took place at another location. Miramar police has not released where exactly this took place, but they say through forensic evidence, they were able to determine that this crime scene was staged. Now, these 2 victims were also aspiring rappers, and they were apparently friends of Jamel DeMons, or YNW Melly. He even took to social media after police say he shot and killed them to mourn their deaths. Now, he appeared in court yesterday.
So let's start there. YNW Melly and Cortland Henry are charged with 2 counts of capital murder. In addition to the 2 counts of capital murder, Cortland Henry is charged with accessory after the fact. But we'll get into that later. Okay. Now, that is the news broadcast. Let's see what we can find paperwork wise, and we're going to work our way from there. So I'm going to go ahead and switch out the screen. This is current as of right now. I just pulled it up. This is Jamel. I'm not sure if it's Jamal, but Jamal Demons, aka YNW Melly's inmate information. Okay, and it gives, excuse me, that he has 2 counts of murder in the first degree, and it does say murder premeditated. Okay. He has no bond, which we already know. And at this time, that's all it says. It says the charge status is pending trial. Okay. Now, let's get into the next part of it, which is the complaint affidavit. All right. And it just gives that he was arrested on February 7th, 2019. So technically, it has already been 4 years since he was arrested. And at the time, he had 2 counts of homicide, willfully killed, murder premeditated, is what's listed on here. It states here that on or about the 26th day of October in the year 2018 in the county of Broward, Jamal Demons and Courtney Henry did then and there unlawfully and feloniously while acting as principals, kill and murder Anthony Williams, a human being, by shooting him with a firearm with premeditated intent to cause the death of said Anthony Williams. And during the course of thereof, Jamal Demons did actually possess and discharge a firearm, and as a result, death was inflicted on, go to the next page, Anthony Williams. Contrary to section 782.04, and then it continues with the statutes. Then the next paragraph goes on to say the same identical thing for Christopher Thomas Jr., which was the second victim that was killed. Now, y'all can go back and look at many of YNW Melly's videos, and you will see the two victims in a lot of his videos. We know so far, per the documents, Jamal Demons, aka YNW Melly, and Cortland Henry are being charged with 2 counts of murder with premeditation. Now, the next part that we will get into, like a lot of things I've realized, is that we don't know exactly what happened, or do we? So, you know my motto, you can't argue with court documents until it's proven the court documents are incorrect. So we're going to go off facts with that. And I'm going to read directly from the court documents. But before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and play the next clip of YNW Melly's original bond hearing.
Of 2 men in Miramar, a South Florida rapper, is now facing charges. Local 10 News reporter Parker Brandon is live in Fort Lauderdale, where the suspect just went before a judge. Parker.
Yeah, Larry, the South Florida rapper did not have much to say, making his first appearance in court after being accused of killing 2 men he called his friends.
Mr. Demons, come on up. Your private attorney's right there.
Jamel Demons, also known as up-and-coming rapper YNW Melly, is making his first appearance inside a Broward courtroom.
Jamel, remember, you don't speak to anyone but me or Mr. Cohn. Remember that.
The rapper tweeting, quote, "They took my brothers from me over jealousy." However, detectives say that story didn't add up. Following a forensic investigation, Wednesday night, police taking YNW Melly and Henry into custody, accusing the rapper of shooting and killing the men he called his friends. The rapper defending himself on social media, saying in part, quote, "Unfortunately, a lot of rumors and lies are being said, but God is with me." State prosecutors asking in court for there to be no contact between Demons and Henry. Ultimately, Judge Jackie Powell says the rapper will remain in jail without bond.
Mr. Demons, you're facing 2 counts of premeditated murder, and the court does find probable cause.
And there you have it. He has been in jail since this day. All right. So, probable cause is what they said they have. And that is what we just read. So, the paper that I just showed was a probable cause affidavit. And that's what they are referring to as having. Now, next, what we're going to get into is, let's pull up the indictment. Here we go. This is the grand jury indictment. All right, now this one was filed on February 25th, 2022, which is, like I want to say that would be like 2 years or so after. Not sure what's the difference in it from the original, but let's take a look. Count 1, murder in the first degree with a firearm. And like we just read on the probable cause, it does state here that Jamal Demons and Courtney Henry did then and there unlawfully, feloniously, while acting as principals, kill and murder. Now, in Florida, they black out the victim's name. So that's what you see the black parts for. And then it does state here at the bottom. Y'all know I'm not reading it verbatim. You can definitely take it out. Check it out yourself on the screen. It says Jamal Demons committed the offense for the purpose of benefiting, promoting, or furthering the interest of a criminal gang, contrary to sections 782.04, and then goes on to say more statutes. So yeah, they're saying it's gang related. Next is murder in the first degree with the firearm, which is count 2. It repeats the same thing from count 1. Next is accessory after the fact to murder in the first degree, count 3, which is for Cortland Henry. And it states here that Cortland Henry did their as part of a common scheme, plan, or purpose, maintained, assisted, or aided, or attempted to aid Jamal Demons, knowing that Jamal Demons had committed a crime, to wit, murder in the first degree of, and that would be one of the victims. That name is there. Such crime being a capital felony with the intent that blank avoid or escape detection, arrest, and trial punishment contrary to, and then it states the statute. Count 4 is going to be the same, and it's going to be in relations to the second victim. Again, victim's name are blacked out. This is a true bill. For those who do not know what a true bill is, if a true bill is signed on you, guess what? They are going to indict you. So that's what a true bill is, and that's what we're reading. And just to be clear, this is the indictment for Cortland Henry. Actual indictment for Jamal Demons, aka YNW Melly, is sealed. Okay, so if you're wondering why it has all 4 charges, because YNW Melly's is sealed. But nevertheless, it'll be about the same thing, because as you see here, both of their names are on it, and it says it's indicted, and you see that the charges are listed there. Can't say his look identical because YNW Melly's is sealed, but again, his name is listed on here on the true bill indictment. So when I started looking at the YNW Melly case, I was wondering exactly what led to someone that was friends with people allegedly becoming a murderer of them, right? Like, what was really that deep that it happened? And then also I wanted to know exactly how did it take place? So that's what we're about to get into, exactly how it all took place. Again, everybody, this is documents from the Broward County Clerk of Court, okay? We cannot argue what's in these documents unless we were there. So let's just stick to what it says, and we can just have an open discussion on your views of it. But please do not get in the comments saying what it is and what it ain't, because hey, this is what they have listed. This is the most up-to-date information that was recently filed with that county. So let's run it. So there has been 2 cases filed in civil court against YNW Melly, along with Cortland Henry and a few other people. Some may be familiar to you, some may not. So they outline exactly what happened. Now, these are in the court documents, but it's on a civil case, not a criminal case. I cannot confirm if it's really how the criminal case will be outlined. However, this is coming from court documents, so we're going to get into it. I just want to clarify, these are civil papers, not criminal papers. All right, here we go. These are the factual allegations according to the paperwork. It says defendants Jamal Demons and Cortland Henry, together with Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams, were acquaintances and conducted business together as a rap collective YNW. One of more of the defendants identified in paragraph 21 were managed by defendant Jameson Fransco individually and or through a management company he owns or manages. Defendant 100K Management LLC. Again, 100K Management LLC may sound familiar because they manage King Von also. Okay? Let's continue. Prior to the shooting discussed, defendant Jamal Demon's mother, defendant Jamie King, and non-party Anthony Williams, who went by a alias Sack Chaser, exchanged words. Defendant King, or Jamie King, said, someone showed her text messages from Sack Chaser threatening all her friends and all these people like he's about this life. Then it says, I'm saying, like, who the fuck you ever robbed? Who the fuck you ever shot at? What the fuck you ever did? Then it says, nigga, you couldn't even take a fucking weed charge if you don't sit your pussy ass down. Now, again, according to the civil documents, this happened prior to the shooting. Okay? Oh, it's more text messages. Then it says, and don't ever come for me because my credentials is real. It ain't even a joke. So don't ever try to come for me because I don't even play those type of games. Then it says, what the fuck you got that I ain't got? Oh, you threaten me with your little gun? Bitch, I got big guns. Then it says, at the end of the day, Melly is my child and he's going to be great because he's talented. He's talented because his mom, not because of your little fuck ass retarded. So side note, what we need to know as far as the holes in the story so far is who is Sack Chaser, right? What relation is this person to YNW or his mom? And what was the conversation on his end according to these responses that were sent to him? That's what I want to know. Truth team, that's what we need to know. The fill in the hole at this point. Let's get back into the paperwork. That's insane. See, to me, right? Because it says prior to the shooting, this all happened. So what was the issue with Jamie King and the Anthony Williams guy, aka Sack Chaser? Well, let's continue. This is where they outline what happened. In the early morning hours of October 26, 2018, 8 individuals, including defendants Jamel Demons and Courtland Henry, together with Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr., met at a recording studio in downtown Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Which defendants Jamel Demons and Courtney Henry, together with Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams, left the recording studio in a Jeep Compass that was rented by 100K Management LLC and or Jameson Francisco. Defendant Courtney Henry was the driver. Defendant Jamal Demons was the left rear passenger. Christopher Thomas Jr. was the right rear passenger, and Anthony Williams was the front passenger, the front right passenger. It gives you a visual in your mind of where everybody was placed, okay? It then says at about the same time, defendant Dontavius Withers, a friend and colleague of defendants Jamal Demons and Courtney Henry, left the recording studio in Fort Lauderdale in a red Mitsubishi with defendants Trayvon Glass, Jacoby Mills, and Adrian Davis. All right, so it says the Jeep Compass and its 4 occupants and the red Mitsubishi and its 4 occupants traveled from. So it then continues to say that about 3:20 a.m. both vehicles go across Interstate 595, traveling south on Interstate 75 to Miramar Parkway. Along the journey, the red Mitsubishi and the Jeep diverted from each other and took separate paths. It is believed that the individuals in the red Mitsubishis went to a home rented by defendant Jamal Demons in the Sunset Lakes area. It then says the Jeep driven by Henry veered off the path and traveled to a secluded location with the other occupants in the Jeep, which included Jamal Demons, Anthony Williams, Christopher Thomas Jr. It then states that defendant Jamal Demons, who was sitting in the left rear seat, shot Anthony Williams, who was sitting in the front passenger seat in the back of the head. It then states Jamal Demons, who was sitting in the left rear seat, shot Christopher Thomas Jr., who was seated next to him in the side of his head. After Christopher Thomas Jr. slumped over to his left, it says data reveals that the murder of Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams and subsequently staged drive-by shooting took place at or near Pembroke Road and US 27 at or around 4:01 a.m. So it then says data reveals that the murder of Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams was a staged drive-by shooting that took place at or near Pembroke Road and US 27 at or around 4:01 a.m. That's a big jump because if they left, hold on, let's go back. Because if they said they left at what time? All right, so here it says they left the studio at 3:20 a.m. Then it says the murder happened about 4:01 a.m. So give or take about 40 minutes in between the two. Let's continue. So it then goes to say Jamal Demons and Cortland Henry had both previously been convicted of a felon by operation of Florida law. Neither defendant, Jamal Demons or Cortland Henry, was entitled to possess a firearm on the date of the subject's shooting. So then it says following the shootings and during a critical period of time to potentially render aid to the victims, defendant Jamal Demons and Cortland Henry changed clothes, staged a fake drive-by, and concocted a story to thwart law enforcement investigative efforts prior to transporting decedents Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams to the hospital. It then says that Jamal Demons left the scene while Cortland Henry remained with the vehicle and the victims. So dang, they stayed with the bodies. It then says following the premeditated murders of Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams, defendants Jamal Demons and Courtney Henry and others falsely claim Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams were killed during a drive-by shooting. It states the evidence is not consistent with a drive-by shooting, which prosecutors are saying also. It says that after the shooting, defendant Cortland Henry dropped defendant Jamal Demons off on the side of the road. Defendant Jamal Demons' cell phone records show he sent a message or a ping to another individual asking to be picked up from the scene of the shooting. Defendant Jameson Fresco transported defendant Jamal Demons from the shooting location. As I stated before, little side note, Jameson Fresco is the manager of YNW Melly and the manager of King Von. He was also one of the victims that got shot the night that King Von was killed, and he's a native of Florida. Next, it says, ultimately, the Jeep Conference arrived at Memorial Hospital with only 3 people in the car, which were Cortland Henry, who was the driver. Christopher Thomas was still in the right rear passenger, and Anthony Williams was still sitting in front passenger seat, except they had been shot and were dying or deceased. Yo, that's wicked. I mean, and all of this is alleged because nobody has been convicted. But if this is true, that's some wicked stuff to be able to ride around with them bodies like that, okay? It says here that prior to transporting the shooting victim to the hospital, notifying rescue personnel, or notifying law enforcement of the shooting, defendant Cortland Henry changed his clothes. At or around 4:43 a.m., the shooting victims, Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams, were removed from the Jeep at Moore Hospital. Now, that's about 40 minutes from the time that they said could have been the time that the shooting took place. So all in all, we're at a little under 2 hours for everything that transpired. Now, it then goes to say sometime thereafter, after multiple individuals, including but not limited to some of the defendants herein, returned to the scene of the shooting to remove evidence. So now they're saying that allegedly they tried to clean it up afterwards. It says Cortland Henry claimed the shooting victims were involved in a drive-by shooting. Cortland, I keep trying to say Courtney. Cortland Henry said that he got down and thus did not see anything, including the driver or the make and model of the car. Now, it then says here that Henry misled police officials by placing the location of the drive-by shooting at or near Interstate 75. But it says that the police department searched that entire roadway and found no shell casings, no broken glass, and nothing to justify or show that there was any truth to the statements made by Cortland Henry. So far they said they're lying, that he's lying. And it seems like according to this, he was actually the first person maybe they spoke with. So he set the tone of which way it was going to go. So, y'all, we have broke down a lot of facts today. So, I'm going to stop it at this point and put the remaining in part 2. But we did go ahead and clarify what the documents say happened right before, meaning 24 hours before the shooting, right before the actual shooting, within like less than an hour. We went into the information that's outlined as far as what happened during the shooting and right after the shooting. What I'm going to get into on part 2 is more so of where all these other names are coming from in this civil case and what role do they play, including, if y'all have seen my short, the immunity deal that YNW Melly's mom received. I'll break that down in part 2. So make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. If you want the real facts about a case, come holler at your girl. So until next time, holla.
I made it out.
I took the hard way. I ain't asking a nigga for nothing. I threw the hard way. Hard way. Hard way. My heart to this day. I'm really with it. My feelings in it. So please, bitch, don't play. I took the hard way. I ain't asking a nigga for nothing. I threw the hard way. Hard way. Hard way, my heart to this day. I'm really with it, my feelings in it, so please, bitch, don't play.